Hello ancient Arowana. There's 4 types of Gleeoks in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and today we'll learn so many details about them, from their attacks, best ways to defeat them, the items they drop, why you need the items they drop, and even their locations. Check the links in the description to see the timestamps if you want to skip around the video to see the parts that you want. If you don't know me, I'm Nico and I love helping everyone in Zelda games. If you want more Zelda content like this, I hope you consider subscribing or at least checking out the channel. Like I mentioned earlier, there are 4 types of Gleeoks in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, 1 for each element: Frost, Flame, and Thunder. They each have 8,000 health, and the 4th will have all 3 elements, the King Gleeok. But the King Gleeok has 12,000 health. Their attack patterns are the same, but their own elemental uniqueness. With that said, instead of talking about each Gleeok one at a time, I'll talk about their attack patterns at the same time since they're basically the same, and then we'll talk about how to deal with each attack. But first, some quick recommendations on preparation, then a brief explanation in less than a minute on how to defeat them. Of course, you need some good weapons and fused materials, but also having bows will help a lot. Multi-shot bows would be even better. The items to fuse that would help Link the most would be eyeballs of any type, and something that will help Link fly into bullet time would also be great. The easiest would be Zonai rockets. You can also use items that bounce Link when shield surfing, like bomb flowers, Zonai bombs, or Zonai springs. A hoverstone or stake can also give you some height to just jump off of, or a control stick on the ground might be good enough. Before fighting the Gleeok, it would be a good idea to fuse all your items to your shields and weapons. This way you don't need to do it while you're fighting. And of course, saving your game is a good idea. Now I'll give you a brief explanation on how to defeat them, then we'll go into details about their attack phases and things like that. The moment they see you, they'll shoot beams at you. Shoot them in the eyes to stun each head. This is where using eyeballs with arrows can come in handy, and a multi-shot bow would be even better. When each head is stunned, the whole Gleeok will be stunned. You can then attack the body. You should probably attack the eyes to do double damage. They'll eventually get back up, then you can repeat this as much as possible. After they drop under 25% health, they will fly up very high. If you can hit the eyes before they fly up, great. Just follow the same strategy. If they get really high, use your rocket shield or shield surf bomb to get as high as possible, then bullet time, shoot them in their eyes, and you know the rest. This is how you defeat the Gleeoks in Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now for some specific details about their attack patterns. Each Gleeok follows the same attack pattern except they have their own elemental uniqueness. In Phase 1, each head will shoot their elemental beam at you. They can do this while flying a bit off the ground or while standing on the ground. When they're on the ground, they will flap their wings to keep you away. And if you get close, they will do a tail whip attack. Frost Gleeoks will also cause unbearable cold, but you're probably fighting them in cold areas anyways, so cold resistance armor or dishes would help. And their beams can freeze you. Also, its wing flaps will cause snowballs to roll towards you while they're on the ground, which can hit you. You can recall or parry the snowballs, but it won't do anything to the Gleeok. Flame Gleeoks will cause unbearable heat. You might be okay without heat resistance, but it would help to have. And of course, their beams are fire. Thunder Gleeoks will cause rain and thunderstorms, so be cautious when carrying metal weapons, and resistance to lightning would help damage from thunder beams. And the King Gleeok has all 3 elemental beams. You can parry all elemental beams, but it just cancels the beam. The strategy for this phase is to stun each head, which will then stun the whole Gleeok itself for about 15 seconds. You could damage the body, but it would do very little damage. Seems like each head has 100 health, and the easiest way to attack is to shoot with an arrow. You can use a ledge to jump off of, or use your rocket or bomb fuse shield to go into bullet time. But again, using a fused eyeball will help get your arrows straight to the Gleeok's eyes. And having a multi-shot bow will help you hit multiple heads at once. If you have this, you may not need to go into bullet time since you'll be hitting the eyes, which will then cancel their beam attack. But if you're close enough and you have decent aim, maybe using a strong fused horn can help give some extra damage instead of using the eyeballs. Just remember that hitting the eye will cause double damage and the eyes have 100 health. So you don't really need a strong fused arrow. As long as the bow and the material reach 50 damage, you'll stun the eye in one hit. When the Gleeok is stunned, you can start to attack it with your strongest weapons. Make sure you attack its head for double damage. And as a side note, if a Thunder Gleeok is stunned, the thunderstorm will stop, so you can use your metal weapons. When the Gleeok recovers, it will immediately blow you away with its wings and continue to beam attack on the ground. When they do this for a bit, it will eventually fly up. However, this time, they will have a different attack, which seems to happen only after it's been stunned the first time. While they're in the air, they will do an elemental ball attack. The frost attack can of course freeze you, but when the balls hit the ground, it will create an ice star of spikes. So watch out for those if you get to this phase. Flame Gleeoks will send balls of fire which just explode on impact. You can use the updraft from the fire to float up into bullet time if needed if the fire is around grass. And the Thunder Gleeok will do balls of lightning that can create orbs on impact. After doing this attack for a bit, the Gleeok will take a deep breath and spit out a whole bunch of elemental balls. For the King Gleeok, again the same attacks, but the only difference is that it will be all three elements. The best thing to do here is to still try to continue the same strategy as much as possible. It is possible for them to do both beam and ball attack, but it doesn't happen often. After the Gleeok reaches below 25% health, they will enter the final phase. They will fly significantly higher and will make a strong elemental attack. The strategy remains the same, but for this phase, since they are much higher than normal, if you don't have anything to fly up, their special attack will actually help you. Let me explain. The Frost Gleeok will create a big snow vortex looking thing and it will rain giant icicles. There will be a small blue light that shows you where the icicles will fall. The icicles will follow Link. But what you can do is to look up while it's happening and avoid the first icicle and simply just walk around next to the icicles. The falling icicles will break against the icicle that you're standing next to. You can now get on top of one of the smaller icicles and recall it up to shoot the Gleeok's eye. The Flame Gleeok is a little basic. It shoots a big fireball, just run away from it, and when it hits the ground, it'll create a very strong updraft that you can ride up to attack its eyes. Thunder Gleeok is more difficult. It's similar to the Frost Gleeok in that the attacks will follow Link. The Gleeok sends thunderbolts to the ground and its craters will create an updraft. However, you cannot ride up just one updraft to reach the Gleeok. They don't last long enough. You have to switch updrafts to make it high enough. For the King Gleeok, it seems to only do the thunder and ice. But it will do a fireball one if you fly above it. So pick your method to reach the Gleeok, but again, having good fused shields would be a good idea. After stunning the heads, the Gleeok will fall and take almost all the rest of the damage from hitting the ground. There should be a little health left to defeat them, but if it's not defeated, repeat the same strategy and you should be okay. Also, there are many Zonai devices that you can make to help you. I believe these strategies should be good enough if you have the resources. You do need Gleeoks for two side quests. The first would be the Unknown Three-Headed Monster side quest from Growlins in the Lookout Landing Emergency Shelter. This becomes available after you've completed his first 3 mini-boss defeating side quests. You'll need to defeat the Gleeok on Lake Hylia Bridge. He'll give you a silver rupee for completing this. The second is the Gleeok Guts quest. If you go to Malena, just south of the Gerudo stable, she'll need 1 Gleeok Guts for her sick husband. After you give her the guts, she'll reward you with 300 rupees. Another reason you may need Gleeok Guts is to upgrade some gear. Each piece of the Royal Guard set needs 3 Gleeok Guts for their 4th upgrade. Each piece of the Glide set needs 12 Gleeok Wings for their 4th upgrade. Each piece of the Ember set needs 5 Flame Horns for their 4th upgrade. Each piece of the Charge set needs 5 Thunder Horns for their 4th upgrade. Each piece of the Frostbite set needs 5 Frost Horns for the 4th upgrade. And one more thing you may need Gleeoks is for something after completing all the shrines that needs 9 Gleeok Guts. That's for you to find out if you haven't already. Gleeok Horns also make great fused materials. Each horn is 30 damage and they do their respected elemental attack and they won't lose energy. You can keep swinging them with no problem. The Gleeok wing does give a weapon long throw and allows an arrow to shoot very far, but it may not be worth using for this. For the drop rates, the elemental Gleeok has a 10% chance to drop a Gleeok guts, 100% chance to drop 3 to 6 wings, and 100% chance to drop 3 of their elemental horns. The King Gleeok will drop 1 Gleeok guts for sure, 3 to 6 wings, and 1 of each elemental Gleeok horn. In the whole game, there are currently 14 total Gleeoks, 3 Frost Gleeoks, 3 Thunder Gleeoks, 4 Flame Gleeoks, and 4 King Gleeoks. There's a Frost Gleeok in the very top of the Gerudo Highlands, the Byron Snow Shelf north of the Rito Village, and in the middle of the Tabantha Snowfield just north of the Snowfield Stable. For the Thunder Gleeoks, there's one in the Colosseum Ruins north of the Great Plateau, one on top of this mountain by Martha's Landing, which is south of Farron, and one just south of the Citadel Ruins. For the Flame Gleeok, there's one at Lake Hylia Bridge, one on Spectacle Rock southwest of the Great Plateau, one on the Ancient Columns, which is just on the mountain west of the Tabantha Stable and Bridge, and one on the Trilby Valley north of the Lineru Bay. However, this one is flying really high, so you'll need to get to it from the skies. And finally, for the King Gleeok, there are 3 in the skies on their private island, usually containing a treasure chest. One above Eventide Island, which is way southeast, one on the island west in the Gerudo Desert, one all the way west of the Rito area, and there's one in the depths in the Gleeok Den under the Typhlo Ruins, which is north of the Lost Woods. I feel like I've done as much research as I can, and I really hope you learned a lot from this video. Gleeok should be no problem for you now, and if I left anything out, feel free to let us know in the comments. If you like these tips, then you'll like these 183 tips. There's actually 172, maybe you'll find out why. I hope you consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing, or at least checking out the channel. Thank you so much for taking time to watch this, and I'll see you next time!